did I send you the tapes from the Challenger 600 crash that was in Bangor? Did you look at those tapes?
I think you did, but I didn't look at it. I think you sent them to me, and I don't remember. I've been kind of sick, so I think I put it off and then never got to it.
Yeah, so the crash in Bangor that happened, it was on Takeoff. It was a Challenger 600. It was during the snowstorm last weekend. And, that can kind of lead you to think that weather's probably a factor. But the air traffic control tapes, they actually go back to when the Challenger comes in from wherever it came from into Bangor to pick up whoever was going to pick up. And it takes you through the whole thing, and the pilot's actually asking them, like, how do we get our clearance? And, where's the de-ice pad? And then you don't hear anything for a while. And the air traffic control tapes record some other planes. And there's an Allegiant jet, an American jet that are going to take off. And they're on the tapes asking about the weather, the runway conditions, and then de-ice stuff. And they're kind of going back with the ground control about what they're going to do, because obviously their company's playing games with them, like, oh, we need you to go. Oh, maybe not. And then they're probably going to time out. And,
right.
That's just the way it goes in the airline world. So then finally the Challenger jet gets back on the radio and he requests his startup clearance. And then there's confusion about whether or not he's going to get his clearance they're going to Paris. So whether they're going to get the Oceanic clearance when on the ground or when they take off. Now there is
on the ground.
Yeah, there's a new system that I think it might come out of New York. There's only certain sectors that'll give it to you. They'll give you like a full route clearance now. And
that's what they've been saying they're going to do, but it hasn't gone into effect yet.
Yeah, and that's what the guy's
not over the Northern Atlantic.
Yeah, so that's where they go back and forth about that, because the guy's like, we're supposed to be like this. And it's a different voice now. So it's a different captain than the guy that brought the jet in. So they're having this conversation with the clearance and the ground controller and whatever. And you're like,
I still teach that stuff, and we have not implemented. I mean, we've been told it's coming, but it hasn't. As far as I know, I have not seen where that's in effect yet.
Yeah, and that must be like and there's confusion. So that's just discussion on the tapes, like what's happening.
No, it's been in the works. It's one of those things. It's been in the works for years. I mean, I've been told this for like the last 2 or 3 years that this is going to happen next week, but it still hasn't happened. It's typical FAA flying, and I don't think this has anything to do with FAA. I think it has more to do with Gander or Shanwick.
I think you're right. Yeah, there's some kind of like power struggle there, or maybe it's technology. I don't know what it is, but I don't understand why you can't get it.
Because you said you do it over the Pacific.
Yeah, you get a full route clearance.
Technology. I
get a full route clearance to like China from Anchorage. I mean, I've flown. It doesn't matter. I don't know what their deal is with that.
Anyway, so they're confused on how to get an Oceanic clearance.
Yeah, so then he starts engines and he gets the Challenger gets a clearance to the de-ice pad. So they go to spray off, and then there's an Allegiant flight that's still talking to ground. And then you hear tower clears the Challenger for takeoff, and something happens during the takeoff. Whether they lift it off or they skid it off the side of the runway, we don't know. I don't know the answer to that, but these tapes don't give the answer. And then you hear they're calling for crash, fire, rescue. Like their tower's freaking out. You can hear in the voice the stress, and because you just saw what happened. And then the Allegiant jet gets on the radio and he's like, "Hey, tower, do you have a phone number I can call you?" And so then the tower gives the Allegiant guy a phone number after the whole field is stopped. So the Allegiant pilot saw something. That crew saw something happen, and they wanted to talk to the
that phone call would be pretty interesting to hear.
Yeah, so they probably wanted to get that on the record that they were a witness to something. Now, what that was, I don't know. But the fact that the Challenger jet went to spray off, so they de-ice and A-ice, it makes it more confusing of like what actually happened. So, and they took off right away. And the snow it was snowing, but it wasn't a horrible scenario. Like they weren't like, I don't know, man. Like
it should have been fine after being sprayed off, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think the RCR was like 3 with like a 1/4 inch of snow, but that runway is like 11,000 feet, so it's not like a huge quagmire to get into taking off. Like you're pushing the limits. So
right.
So I don't know. We're gonna see more out of that jet and that accident as things develop. But that was just something I saw. It was kind of weird.
And that's a wrap, folks. You've been cruising at 35,000 feet with the Black Box. We hope you enjoyed the journey and learned something new about the fascinating world of aviation. Whether it's cockpit stories, industry secrets, or just the magic of flight, we're here to